Hello everyone and welcome to the beginning of a new My Team career mode save, but not as you know it. As you can tell by the title and thumbnail, we are doing an F1 2009 career mode on My Team. Now guys, before we jump into it, a couple of plugs to get out of the way. The first one, a big shout out to Kolar F1 for giving me early access to this mod, also having my own custom team in this game, which is absolutely insane. Also, I've covered this already on the channel once before. The video has done really well, guys. If you haven't seen it, check it out, link in the top right. And finally, if you're new, guys, we are less than 2,000 subs away from 100,000 subs. If you want to help me get there, new to the channel, please subscribe for more daily F1 content. But let's get into it and let's see what's in this save. So the first order of business is to set a new name for the team, and as you can tell, it's pretty straightforward based off my other career mode saves. It's going to be 97 Racing, but there might be a change depending on sponsor / engine supplier. Now, as you can see, we're going to have to pick, what is best suited for our team, starting off with our title sponsor. Now, there were some really good options here, but I chose actually to go for the hardest one possible, which is also, I think, realistically possible. 25 points in a season is going to be Siemens Mobile, which hopefully we should be able to achieve. We're also going to go and look for a new engine, and we've got some options here. So Honda, Ford, Cosworth and BMW. Now, out of these, I chose one that's realistic for what would have been a new team back in 2009, not necessarily a factory team, a team with big backing and big investments. So back in the day, Cosworth was the supplier that would usually, be supplying new teams' engines. And we then pick our teammate, and we've got some very good options here of young drivers back in 09, of course, Ricciardo, Kobayashi, and there's even some other ones which are not on this list, like Hulkenberg, Bottas. But for the sake of the video and also making the budget work, I wanted to go for Ricciardo, but I can't afford it. So we're going to go a little bit down the ladder, and we're going to go for Paul the Rester, and hopefully he can deliver, because back in the day Paul was a really highly touted driver back in the day. So as you can see, this is going to be the layout and the kind of new look of our team for this very first season of My Team. This might be one season, it might be two. I'm planning at the minute for it to be a mini season, so one season only, and we'll get into that in just a bit. But for now, let's go for the updates and also the interviews, and let's see what's new. And also remember how good F1 2020 was in terms of a game compared to the current F1 games that we have right now, which is a bit of a shame we're in this state. But here we are back on F1 2020 trying to make things work on the F1 game.
Okay, we're live in 5, 4, 3.
Hello folks, and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. Now, we've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over the last decade, amongst their number Manor, Caterham, HRT and of course Haas. And while some have proved to be successful, others have morphed into different teams and some have disappeared completely. What marks this team out, though, as being something different is that its owner is also its driver. Now, there's a rich history of that in Formula 1 too. Sir Jack Brabham, John Surtees, Graham Hill and Bruce McLaren all drove their own cars in the sport, but it has become increasingly rare in recent years. What's very special about this team, though, is that while the team itself is new to Formula 1, so too is its driver and owner.
Whatever happens this season, you've already made the history books. Tell me, do you feel up to the mammoth task of both managing and driving for a Formula 1 team?
Now, to be fair, these are all pretty valid. Neither one is going to give us any extra perks.
Every team needs two drivers, but what was it that drew you to your teammates?
Well, Paul di Resta was a very successful young driver and had some really good races and stats.
No one aims to finish bottom of the table. Who's the team you're aiming to beat?
Now, this one was a bit of a tricky one. You don't really want to throw dirt in any team's direction, but for the sake of the video, you guys really like Toyota, so I thought I'd try and throw some dirt their way.
How are you expecting the car to feel out on track?
Now, this one is, well, the next few questions are going to be tactically answered to try and get some brownie points in each different department.
The other teams now have years of experience, both on and off the track. How are you planning to catch up to them?
Now, before we mention the aero, this one we're going to mention the engine, because fuel loads back in 2009, before refueling was banned in 2010, that was a key part of F1.
Overtaking is a key part of this sport. How have you ensured that your car can take advantage of each opportunity that comes your way?
The one thing these older cars were known for is being very lightweight compared to the current ones, and hopefully we can make ours even lighter than what it is.
And finally, which of your new departments are you most proud of?
And this is where we're going to give Cosworth their flowers and, say that they've given us, hopefully, a very reliable engine which will perform pretty well.
Well, that's about all we've got time for here. We will see how this fledgling team fares in its first Grand Prix.
So here we are then, in the office for the first time, the car under wraps. Of course, you guys may have seen the car already if you saw my other video, but there are some changes, some small adjustments and sponsor adjustments, taking into account my channel and this career mode. And we also have a few things to get through, starting off with the race suits, and the new look. So, as you can see, here's Paul di Resta alongside using Nick De Vries' face. We have some very nice race suits, currently sponsorless, as we are lacking sponsors, let's be honest. As you can see, driver perks, we are going to hopefully add to that very shortly. But elsewhere, I thought I'd show you guys around a little bit and see what the situation is. So based off the questions we answered with Will Buxton, we are 4th from bottom on the aerodynamics. On the chassis, we're also 4th from bottom, so not too bad. On the durability, we're actually 4th overall, which is also really encouraging, and also 4th in terms of engine power. So not too bad. Quite happy. A reasonable balance, and that is some decent foundations to build upon, which I'm happy about. So yeah, as you can see, we then go to activities, and we have the car reveal in the middle, but we're going to focus on aero and chassis, as that is of course some of the areas we're a bit weaker in compared to the engine. And also we're going to do a pre-season advertisement campaign, which is going to give us a lot of acclaim, which is going to be key to try and level up the team as quickly as possible. And with that done, we're going to actually go ahead and we're going to do our first upgrades of the career mode so far. So we're going to start off with a rear downforce, which, by the way, I hope we get the R&D tree back for F1 24. I miss it so much. It was so much better. Either way, we're going to also add on a driver perk for development feedback to improve resource point income by 10%. And we're also going to have to do another one at some point, because those perks are going to be key. We then go to the chassis. I've got a few more points a few days later to kind of spend, and we're going to go for another upgrade to add to that. So those are going to arrive staggered. But now we arrive at the car reveal, and you guys of course have seen what it may look like from the previous video, but we have some new sponsors of course with Siemens Mobile, and we're going to see how it looks of course with some other sponsors on the car. So let's get into it. Here we are then. As you can see, the car in all its glory, and to be fair, I just love my colors, my brand colors. The black and the neon electric blue just works. And I mentioned it before, but on this retro F1 car, I feel like it actually looks even better than the current ones. As you can see, we have our team logo on the side pod and our new title sponsor, Siemens Mobile, on the wing / shark fin on the side of the engine cover, and then some other small micro sponsors including my logo, also channel partners like the Simplace and also Sim Racing Center, which of course are going to add and bring it all together, along with other small little details like Bridgestone here and there. So a very nice look, very simple, very basic. Hopefully as we level up and acclaim, we'll get more sponsors on the car and it will look better and better. But yeah guys, there she is, the Season 1 machine. And now we jump into the calendar, and I've tried to keep it realistic. So 16 races, ideally 14 would have been perfect, but we can't change that right now. So 16, essentially we're keeping those real life races that are still available on the calendar, and then there's 2 more basically to add, which we can choose. And I've gone for Zandvoort and Austria, which, are current / former circuits. So yeah, I've tried to keep it, like I said, realistic, running the 09 calendar, but because we can't do 14 races, which is all we have available in this one, I've added 2 more fantasy rounds, like I said, in Zandvoort and also Austria. Now, before we head away, I want to show you guys the grid rundown. So as you can see, Williams, you've got Nakajima, Rosberg, you've got Kubica and Heidfeld at BMW, of course, JB and Barrichello over at Brawn, Alonso and Nelson Piquet at Renault, which is a controversial year for them. We then go to Force India, Giancarlo Fisichella, El Fisico, and also Adrian Sutil alongside him. Toyota, the promise, truly. And is that Glock? Yes, it is. After that, we're going to jump down to Red Bull and a very baby-faced Sebastian Vettel breaking out, of course, in 09. That was his year where he really started to win races and make a name for himself. Mark Webber, of course, alongside. Raikkonen, Massa at Ferrari, and then both Sebastians at Toro Rosso, Bourdais and Buemi, and then of course we're going to go to McLaren where we have Heikki Kovalainen and also a fresh-faced Lewis Hamilton. So there's a lot in terms of the drivers. We also have some reserves, and I mentioned before we've got some other options which we may be able to look at down the line, including Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez, Roman Grosjean, Nico Hulkenberg. There's some exciting options there, but for now, of course, we've gone for what I think is quite fair, Paul di Resta, but we do have some exciting options available for us if necessary. So for the career mode, we're going to start off with 101 AI. That might change based off practice and qualifying in round 1. That is quite a fluid thing, so that's not necessarily set in stone. Also, we're going to go for a short qualifying session and a 50% race, so I think that should be good fun and it keeps the action quite intense. We then look at the settings for the career mode and we're going to go for full damage, not sim. I had done some practice and doing the last video I done, and the damage was very, very, very sensitive, and not just for me but for the AI as well. So I don't want to have races of constant wing damage. So we'll go for full damage and see how it goes. If I feel like it's worth the risk, we can maybe go for sim. I might change it. The track limits on strict, of course, and the race starts on manual safety car also on. And then we look at the assists, which of course are all off. So guys, there is the car in the background in the office, ready to go for round 1 in Australia. If you're excited, leave a like on the video, subscribe for more, guys. Like I said, we're very close to 100k, and also shout out to Kolar F1 for giving me access to the mod ahead of time. Guys, cheers for watching. A big shout out to the members for supporting the content and the channel. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. And yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and let's go back from me.